Hi everyone. Let's continue to discuss on JUnit 5 assertions. So in this lecture we will discuss about assert not equals method. The assertions API provide a static assert not equals method. So this method helps us in validating that actual and expected values are equal or not. So if the actual value is not equal to expected value, then the test case will pass. So here you can see that the method name is assert not equals, and the method signifies that if actual is not equal to expected, then our test case will pass. And if the actual value is equal to expected value, then the test case will fail. So friends, here you can see that in our last lecture we discussed about assert equals method. So assert not equals method works exactly opposite to assert equals. So now let's look at few of the assert not equals overloaded methods. So the first overloaded method takes in an actual and expected value and asserts whether they are not equal. The second overloaded method takes in an actual and expected value, and they also take in a string which is nothing but our customized message. So friends, here you can see that if the actual and expected values are equal, then we know that our test case will fail. So if our test case fails, you can see in our JUnit console that whatever customized message you have provided using the third parameter, it will be part of the assertion failed error. The third overloaded method takes in an expected value, the actual value, and a supplier function interface. So this supplier function interface supplies a message. So here you can see if the expected value is equal to actual value, then we know that our test case will fail, and the test case will fail with the provider's message through supplier function interface. So you can see the second overloaded method, we have this string message, but in the third overloaded method we have this function interface which supplies a string. So the only advantage of this supplier function interface is that it gets lazily evaluated only when the test case fails. But here this string message gets evaluated every time whether the test case pass or fail. So friends, now let's go to Eclipse and see the demonstration of assert not equals method. So in our previous lecture, we actually saw the demonstration of assert equals method. So in this lecture, let's see the demonstration of assert not equals method. So here I will be creating a test class. By name. Assert not equals demo. And I will give it a package as assertions.assert not equals. We'll create the class. So friends, we also discussed that assert equals and assert not equals works exactly opposite to each other. So here I will just copy all the test cases from assert equals demo class, and I will use it in assert not equals demo class. So now in this class we will see the demonstration of various overloaded assert not equals method. So the first overloaded method is assert not equals with no message. So friends, here we are actually testing book service class, which basically has a list of books, and we have created three methods: add book, which adds a book, books method, which returns this list of books, and get book by ID, where you provide a book ID. It iterates over list of books, matches that book ID, and returns the book. So here we have created these two books, which is nothing but our test data. We have added these two books using the add book method. So here these two books have book IDs 1 and 2. So here what we are doing, we are calling get book by ID and passing in 1. So we know that this book instance will be returned back. So the actual book will refer to this book. And let's say we use assert not equals method. We will import this static method from assertions class. So friends, here you can see the actual book returned has book ID 1 and title as Head First Java. So here you can see in assert not equals method, if the expected value is equal to the actual value, then our test case should fail. So what we are actually doing in this test case is that we are saying that whatever the value actual book has for the book ID, it should not be equal to 1. And if it is not equal to 1, then our test case should pass. But here you can see that book ID value is 1 and we are expecting that it should not be equal to 1. So this test case should fail. So if I run the test case, so friends, here you can see the test case got failed, giving in an assertion failed error, saying expected not equal but was 1. Which simply means that when we do get book ID, we are getting the value as 1 and we are trying to compare 1 with 1, saying that they should not be equal, but actually they are equal. So our test case is failing. So friends, in a test case, if one of the assertion fails, then the test case fails. So here you can see this second assert not equals line didn't got executed because our test case failed in the first assert only. So I will just remove this part. So friend, this was the assert not equals with no message. Now let's see assert not equals method with a message. So here scenario is exactly the same what we saw here. So I will just remove this part. And here I will be calling assert not equals method, where expected value is what I am providing as 1 and the actual value is the actual book.getBookId, which is getting returned from the getBookById method. So the third parameter to this assert not equals method is the string message, which gets printed whenever our test case will fail. So our test case will fail when the actual value is equal to the expected value. So here we can give a customized message as let's say we give a customized message as book ID matches to expected value. So friends, if I run this test case, so here you can see the test case got failed, giving an assertion failed error. So here you can see this part is exactly the same which we saw in our previous test case, that expected not equal but was 1. And here you can see it also prints our customized message saying that book ID matches to expected value. So here actual value is 1 and the expected value is also 1. So basically 1 is equal to 1. So therefore our assert not equal assertion fails. So this was the second overloaded method, where we pass in a string message which gets printed whenever our test case fails. So similarly, let's look at the third overloaded method, which is assert not equals with message supplier. So here I will just copy this line and I will paste it here. So the scenario is exactly the same. So in this overloaded method, we pass in an expected value. We also pass an actual value. But instead of this string message, now we supply a supplier function interface which basically provides this string whenever our test case fails. So the syntax is something like this. We give a lambda expression like this. So whenever our test case fails, this supplier function interface gets executed and it returns this string value. And the only advantage here is this lambda expression gets evaluated only when the test case fails. So if I run the test case now, so here you can see the output is exactly the same which we saw in our second overloaded method, that it gives an assertion failed error saying that book ID matches to expected value, and the default message saying the expected not equal but was 1. So friends, here we saw that assert not equals basically checks whether expected and actual value are not equal, and if they are equal, this assertion fails. So here what we do is, we simply pass an expected value other than 1 in our all 3 test cases. Let's say I give 5, here I give 6, and any value which is not 1. So here if I run all the test cases now, you can see all the 3 test cases got passed because we have given any random value which is not equal to 1. So therefore the assert not equals assertion passes because the expected value and the actual value are not 1. So friend, in this lecture we saw the demonstration of assert not equals method and its overloaded method. I hope you like this video. Thanks, have a nice day.